blasting still. I put in work, no fly in the mirror. They want me to lose, but I can't. Mama shed like 1,000 tears. I can't do that shit to waste. I pull up in Mercedes. Next year you gon' see me pull up in the race. All I do is ball hard. Mama told me, boy, make sure you tie up your legs. Hey, when I was down bad, boy, I got on my knees and I started to pray. Now I'm breaking bread with my young Betty Wiz. He was a part of the gang. No, now he getting paid every single day. Yeah, I was hustling. I could turn an 8 to a 28. Let me show you. 12, they can kiss my ass. Yeah, see them lights, but you know I got the strap. Go right up, now he getting paid every single day. Yeah, I was hustling. I could turn an 8 to a 28. Let me show you. 12, they can kiss my ass. Yeah, see them lights, but you know I got the strap. Go right, I push the. I do the dash, on my way to the bag, boy, you know I push the gas.
Yeah, okay, my timing is critical. Then on my rhyming is pivotal. Homie, the dash is digital, gas residual. Far and smoke like I'm leading a ritual. You bet my cash is long. I hit the gas, I'm gone. Riding my wave. I've been stuck in my zone. I bet I blast them all. Sliding on faith. I've been out finding my ways. Grinding for days. I've been out shining the hate. All of y'all wanted for praise. Stuck in a phase. Let it and turn it ablaze. Yeah, homie, you don't want to race. Nah, better to stick to your place. Yeah, want it all, I gotta taste. You push on the pedal, now I gotta skate. Yeah, all I ever known. Put me on this throne. Pinnacle. Push my buttons and that motherfucker go. What you know, what you own. Push it and I zone. Sonic booms full of roam. Running till the tomb with my goons. Smell the fumes. Y'all know what it do with the crew when we coming through. Y'all know better move. Make it fast. Ain't no second chance. Coming for your ass. Turn to ash. Burning rubber now. Better push the gas like.
I do the dash, on my way to the bag, boy, you know I push the gas.
Folks, welcome to K7. Kill it back to the middle of the map. Rejects gonna slide out. Rejects is there now. Gasson trying to make the play. Will go for one. Tries to free fire onto the second. But from behind here comes Atomic for two. Are you ready for this?
Empty hearts and neon lights. They're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone. Just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. Get me out of now. To where we started out. La 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 la, oh, oh. Get me out of.
They pull off the upset somehow, some way, complete the greatest comeback on checkmate. The Kaiser now down to a 1v1. Joe! Oh! They're going for the knife. They're going for the knife! I don't know if National Town are going to be able to get this going. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Valiant Gaming are going to be crowned your The K7, please. Folks, welcome to K7.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost, oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the dust. Oh,
First kill there by Kill. The frags rolled on the second is going to be big. Rejects is there now. Dassin trying to make the play. Will go for one. Tries to pre-fire onto the second from behind. Here comes Atomic for two.
this is what we know. Here we come back to life, still breathing, standing up, everybody's gonna see it. Oh, all you need to know is that we're holding on. Even if we fall, we will rise up and we follow the path that we believe in. No, we're not gonna
Hello
stop
and
until
welcome
we
everybody. I'm Shifty here, joined by Alex McCormish. Hey, are you ready for this?
It's time, baby. Kill it back to the middle of the map. Rejects going to slide out.
Goes in, slays people out, especially with the atomic on it.
Sure, Hawaii on the staircase. Actually, we get killed by Rejects there. You already see Kill him back over towards the top house by P2.
We have been waiting so long for the season to begin.
Thank you, Hero. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first match of this preseason. As you can see, it is Hyped Esports versus Team Veer. I am Kamika, and I am joined by that one guy.
Yes, sir, you are. Whether you like it or not, I'm here.
Yes, indeed. We've got quite the match planned for today. It is a lot of fan favorites, I would say. Hyped Esports. It's a lot of people who have been in the league for a lot, not necessarily on Hyped Esports, but they've been making gains in the roster department. And Team Veer, they've been here I believe at least one season now, so I'm sure they've got a couple of fans here in the league. Now, we've got maps here, TG, and they are going to be on the screen very shortly.
Yes, sir, we do. We got a Bocage, we got a Berlin. For the first two maps, the hard point going to be on Bocage, S&D on the Berlin, and then the hard point, the map 3, Gavutu, and then we get to the map 4 and 5, which would be a Berlin hard point and S&D on Bocage, or Bocage, whichever way you say it.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are different ways of saying it, but who's to say either one is wrong? Either way, ladies and gentlemen, we've got two matches tonight. First one, obviously, is Hyped versus Veer, but get ready for a lot of Bocage in Berlin because we're going to be seeing it quite a little bit. Seems to be the fan favorites generally besides Tuscan. Honestly, surprisingly no Tuscan tonight. But Berlin, every time I can cast a Berlin map, I am never disappointed, TG.
Yeah, Berlins are very interesting, and I do like the map. Tuscan as well, like you were saying, very much a favorite. You know, you're normally going to see at least one of the two between Berlin or Tuscan's rotation. This time around, we get two Berlins in the series, and it should be interesting, especially a Berlin S&D. I do tend to like those. Those ones can be a little bit, like, have options to be slowed down, but also sped up. It's, I think, a map that has a lot of versatility.
Yeah, and the interesting thing to point out about these maps is 2 out of 3 of the hardpoint maps are going to be on one of the more longer range rotation heavy maps. And I do know that on the Hyped Esports side, I do believe is going to be Bajimbo gracing us. And he's been pretty much one of the most tried and true ARs from across many seasons of K7. Back from his days on Rated Gaming, he's been absolutely laying down the law with the ARs. And with a lot of these maps going to be his wheelhouse in terms of fight distances, I can definitely see him putting in a lot of good work for his team tonight.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. You know, a name that I've known and kind of maybe not necessarily personally seen as much, but like I've heard about. I know he's been out there doing fantastic things on the map. So it really just seems, I think, comes down to what Team Veer can bring in regards to that AR presence. But certainly, for the first map, Bocage, it's not quite an AR heaven as a map like Berlin would be. But we'll have to see how these teams adjust in terms of the pacing. Because, I mean, certainly in the fast-paced map that we got in Bocage, certainly a nice one to start up, sort of get warmed up. But then after that, you do got some of those longer maps. So you got to slow yourself down. And we'll see how these teams can adjust.
Yeah, and I've just gotten word, ladies and gentlemen, that we are in the lobby and we're waiting for it to get properly set up and ready to go. And while we get this lobby set up and ready to go, you know what's going down, and we pretty much talked about all the major talking points going into this game. And so, as we wait for more information to talk about, we're going to be going to a very quick emphasis on the quick break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back very soon. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back once again. Game starting very, very soon, as everyone, I do believe, is in the lobby now and starting up the game. First map, in case you guys need a refresher or weren't here, is going to be Bocage, the most sweaty of all sub-friendly maps, and I am joined by my main man, TG.
Yes, sir. And, well, a good map to start generally. It's a nice one, I think, to really set some pace. And yeah, kind of what you said with the SMGs, it's where we're going to see, I think, in terms of who has the better SMGs on this map, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, there are some portions of the map where you need to be just a little bit smarter than your opponents when it comes to rotation or just decision-making, and you can't get by just on being cracked. You can't just be a cracked idiot and get away on this map. But yeah, it appears, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that teams are going to be inverted, so just a quick heads up on that.
Yeah, I'll try to remember that. We're shooting some bodies as well, and yes, there we go. It is a wonderful start to Call of Duty, a wonderful start to the night. But you know what? It's Call of Duty. You know, that's kind of how things go.
Yeah, you can never... The one thing you can know in Call of Duty is to expect the unexpected, and sometimes you should know exactly what to expect when it comes to game lobby issues, but I mean, hey, all games got them, and here's ours.
Yeah, just getting out of the way early, I think, is really what the better course is, and maybe everything else can go smoothly, but who knows? We'll be here for a while. You know, the first matchup of two, I should say. But looking forward to seeing how these teams play in general, though. Honestly, again, we got rosters now, I believe, as I pull it up on the side here. For side of Hyped, you know, we got Jimbo here, Afro, Accept, and Swizz on their side. And on the side of Veer, we got Sins. We got Dylan here, who's a sub for Conspiracy this time around. So one of their main players is not going to be present. And then you got NK and Gobla there. So we'll see how these two teams match up.
Yeah, the only one that really stands out to me from Team Veer is NK, who I do believe I have casted in Case of in previous seasons and has had a varyingly good degree of success. I don't think he's ever been on any of the winning teams. Obviously, that's kind of hard based on some of the teams that we've had in the season generally. But I always remember NK. I'm like, NK, good performances. And so I'm looking for a lot out of him from the Team Veer roster, just like the name that stands out to me on the other side is going to be Bajemba with the AR. So those are the people I'm really looking at for the strong performances tonight, TG.
So some expectations that you have of a few players, some that have yet to be set, where this is sort of the standout match of seeing what these players are capable of and who really catches our eyes in terms of, you know, going up against the performances I think that we can expect from some players. But when you compare them to other players, we'll see how this goes down. Both orgs here and there, but hopefully when we get started, we can have a good matchup. And yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else more there is to say about these rosters.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a preseason game for a reason, TG. It's so that these teams with their new rosters can, you know, get their names out there and let us know what to expect for the season. So it's not crazy to come into a preseason game with not a lot of preconceived notions. So I'm coming in with an open mind and letting these teams do the decision making for me. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, teams are going to be correct now as we start off with our first game of the preseason. Looks like so far that Hyped eSports is going to be getting some solid control over the middle of the map in good time, but Team Veer, on the other hand, is going to be getting more holistic control of the map. They instantly knock themselves off without really losing too much time or positioning.
Yeah, it's going to be Hyped with some initial time there. Bajimbo with one trying to get a turn onto another. Not going to quite happen there, but still a trade come on out. Both sides getting some kills, but it is going to be Hyped so far getting some kills. And, well, looking for a little bit of a rotation. Afro coming on out from the side, and but just like that, you're going to see them start to get some control over the P2.
Yeah, and this is the important thing. Afro, perfect patience. This is going to be taking down one, almost a second, but not quite going to be the case for him. But Jimbo, really the only one left for his team in a decent position as Team Veer. It looks like they're starting to stabilize things out a little bit as they take control over the middle of the map and control over the objective in general. So this first little bit of time, it's not really going to be able to be taken by anybody without putting yourself at serious risk.
Yeah, and just like that, 3 go down. Swizz going to be up, and well, Swizz is going to get taken care of, so now Team Veer going to have some control of this P2. So for them, it's going to be locking out Hyped Esports as they start to push up the front side here. Sins going to be chilling there. Gobbler, his teammate, going to be pushing up 4. He's going to find 1, and Sins going to be finding another. And well, just like that, they get another wave of kills. Hyped Esports not really able to make any kind of advance on this hill. So Team Veer taking a nice little lead, and there's still a decent chunk of time to be had.
And not just that, but 2 players from Team Veer. I was about to say getting very close to streaks, but then somehow they all seem to die at once. Hyped Esports looking to clap back into this game in more ways than one. Kills as well as rotations. They are going to be getting there first, but actually just barely a second before their opponents. They're still going to have a strong fight to get control over these spawns. And even if they win them, who's to say they can get out of them with this positioning from Hyped?
Yeah, I mean, on this hill, you get stuck behind those kind of brick walls, and sometimes you can break out of it. Sometimes you can't. It's really, really tricky in certain occasions. It really just depends on if your opponent has really great positioning to lock you on out and get you as you come out through those bricks. But for the most part, it's going to be Team Veer spawning more towards mid here as they start to push on up onto this hill. Hype with some nice time to them, and things starting to go in, changing lead a little bit here.
Oh, there you go, NK. Some good kills in a row, clearing things off, except for Bajimbo, which his teammate does pick up that spawns, but not necessarily at the time you want to be getting them, TG. We've basically outlived the usefulness of those spawns on this hill. So Team Veer, they got them, but they're pretty much going to have to push right back through the objective through a very well-armed Hyped Esports team and pretty much fight their entire way to get onto the next objective, which Hyped Esports is going to take very closely to their spawn.
Sins trying to do some stuff in the middle on a 4 streak right now, looking for a 5th, trying to find that glide. Don't really know if you're going to be able to do so. Going to get caught. Afro going to be preventing that streak from being achieved, I believe. And with that, a nice solid kill there. And now things still getting crazy as these teams, for the most part here, evenly battling each other.
Yeah, they do seem to be evenly battling each other. NK trying to switch things up a little bit, and just like that, Hyped Esports, they do take a manpower advantage on this objective, keeping it nice and dicey, I'll say. The thing that they didn't want is Team Veer to get a whole lot of time off of this as well. As long as they can keep it dicey and get a little bit of time off this, they have so far the rotation for Nexusy accepts. He is currently spawning over there by the tower, and they have an easy rotation, especially compared to Team Veer, who is now basically being choked by their spawns. So, Hyped Esports, this is a really good spot for them to be in. They've got a full setup on next, and so as long as they can just win some good gunfights and pick up NK on the side, they'll be fine.
Yeah, they really should be. Bajimbo there, finding a nice pick. There's going to be a few more players from the side. Team Veer coming off to the right side, and, well, the information is somewhere there. Should see the one to the right. NK, though, going to be getting the better of that kill. Going to be kind of pushing on up so far as Hype are now going to be spawning quite a bit out as Team Veer looking like they have the slightly closer spawns at the moment, but not quite a whole lot of control of the point until just now.
Yeah, that was the caveat, wasn't it? Got to pick up NK, and they don't. He completely collapses in on one of the sides, which was not well defended at all from Hyped Esports. They were a little bit thinking that their opponents would just come straight on up ahead or through the middle of the map, but they didn't really anticipate the flank coming around, and it definitely is going to make them pay for their lack of preparedness, as now Team Veer going to be taking a lot of time off of this objective and preventing Hyped Esports from regaining a lead on a hill that they really should have been able to get it on. Going into the next rotation, Team Veer has a very slight lead, and they've gotten closer to streaks than anyone else. Speaking of close to streaks, we've got NK searching for one more kill. Hasn't been able to get it just yet. We need to stick in here with NK to see if he can get the final kill that he needs, and there it is. There's the first streak of the game, and it's going to be courtesy of Afro.
Yeah, NK looking for another one, though, as well. Is able to achieve it. Full streaks there, and well, yeah, the first streak that we've seen, though, we have seen quite a few opportunities. We've seen people get to 4, but not quite able to carry it all the way. It's not until about the second set of rotations that we do finally see that streak start to be earned. Now, the question becomes, when do you want to use it? When are you going to use it? And I would say maybe P2, but possibly later on in the game as well, depending on how the situation goes.
Yeah, I mean, you've gotten a lot of time off of P1 as well. This is just looking better and better for Team Veer as time goes on. although they do find themselves getting swiftly counterattacked for some greedy taking of the mid. Hype eSports is going to make them pay for that with some serious map control taking into their favor. But NK, they haven't pushed up so far that they're not being able to defend their spawn, at least until the moment where they do push up and lose control over the spawn. So, I don't know, man. I would say that was a little bit greedy on the part of Team Veer, and it could cost them a lot more than it gained them.
Yeah, definitely if you have the other team sort of getting set up for that next hill, but a wave coming on in through mid, Veer starting to push on through, Accept's going to be going down. Pretty much everyone from Team Veer, though, going down, except for Conspiracy, who's going to be chilling out in the mid barn, though, trying to stay alive, trying to win that gunfight, unable to do so. So now, Hype, a good chunk of time so far. This hill is about halfway done.
Yeah, again, this is Hype eSports punishing a severe mistake coming out from Team Veer. They tried really hard to get a lot of time off of P1, which was completely unnecessary, I would say. They were already in the lead. They already had a lot of map control and the ability to deny the time going into their opponent's hands, but they really just overextended themselves. I think the fact that they were finally able to get their streaks got them in the mindset of, oh, we're just starting to really smoke these guys. Let's go in huge. But Hyped Esports, the game has been close for this entire time for a reason. Now we're going to be seeing Swizz getting streaks, basically going toe-to-toe with NK. And so now this rotation coming out, Hyped's got that as well. So, Veer, what you got? You gotta figure out something to respond to this with.
Yeah, Hyped. I mean, I think for the most part, just at the beginning, a little bit of a slow start from them, starting to get warmed up and taking that lead, and a nice lead at that. But there's still time. Veer with control of this current hill. NK here could be getting a nice little kill there on B Jimbo there, possibly. No, never mind. Is going to be getting gunned by him instead. And well, now Hype, opportunity to start to push over. Sin's able to find one, but the trade is there, except makes his way onto the hill.
Yeah, time really not going into anybody's favor, but that's okay for Hyped Esports because with 15 seconds left, they've got the rotation for next. Although they're pushing up very hard again, they push up just slightly too far without picking up the left side of the map, and it causes a very crazy spawn flip by the slightest of margins. And again, Team Veer, by the slightest of margins, are going to be taking the rotation to next. They've got their subs all up on the inside now. And so what could have been another great rotation for Hyped Esports is going to be leading to a full team wipe and a Team Veer allowed to set up completely on the objective.
That is P4 so far. Going to be getting in control of Hype there for a bit of time. Team Veer trying to challenge it, but not for long. Hype able to recover, able to hop back on. And for right now, they are just chilling as Team Veer right now, pushing mostly from the front. We got number one on the flank a little bit. Possibility for a big play. The question is it going to be needed as the rest of the team starts to get some kills? And, well, it is going to be as Sins comes on. And there's going to be one more by this little hay bale. He knows where the player is and unfortunately can't quite find the kill. But his teammate, Conspiracy, able to find two. Gobbler there with the trade. A nice wave of kills for the side of Team Veer to start to break onto that hill.
Yeah, but it comes at a great cost, TG. They are now 40 points down going into the next rotation, and also, they have not gotten the rotation courtesy of Hyped Esports. This is a huge moment for Hyped Esports. They had this rotation last time, but they lost it because they weren't able to pick up on the side, and NK's trying to do the same thing again. Like, this is where it comes in for Hyped Esports. This is a moment where they can prove that they learned from their mistakes. But Jimbo, he's looking, he's ready for it, and he does take him down this time around. So Hyped Esports is a team that learns from their mistakes, and they completely wipe the floor with Team Veer the second time around.
They're able to do so with a lot of force as well, and now they're just waiting for Team Veer to come back in, and well, time's ticking on down. Hyped Esports, 25 seconds until they can get a win. Team Veer, they've got to go a little bit extra, a little bit more than that so far. Are they able to do so? Swizz trying to make his way onto the hill a little bit, gets the stun out, going, looking for the player, finds it. There's going to be another one coming around the river. He finds him as well. And now Swizz is going to be here with the rest of his team as they are able to be set up, and the time is, I don't think there for a win, but it's going to be like 2 seconds on the P1. That is going to be all they need.
One thing I want to know is, where are the streaks from NK? Did I miss them? Or did he just call them in a very ineffective way? Apparently, he has wasted all of his streaks. Hyped Esports, all they got to do is touch, and that is exactly what they do. Wow, great start from Hyped Esports. Looks scary in the beginning, but man, oh man, are they a team that learned from their mistakes. Second rotation, they looked so incredibly good. They punished their team for a lot of huge mistakes, especially starting at the beginning where they tried to get a lot of time off of the P1. they instantly were able to kill them from defensive positions and capitalize on their long respawn times, going and taking the spawns away from them, and doing the same thing to them on multiple occasions. They didn't fall for the same mistakes twice on P5, and that was the biggest thing there, TG. That could have been a game-breaking moment for them.
Yeah, they did, again, sort of starting off on an even footing, but in the end, really hype, starting to pull ahead, and they really did not let that go. They did get those sort of adjustments in later game, and, well, really for them, I think a big part of it as well was Team Veer kept pushing on a lot of those hills, and when they were able to get those kills, Hype Esports were just like, hey, you know what? They can get them. We'll just set it for the next hill. They break in the last 15, 20 seconds. We're spawning on the next hill. Why would we push there? You know what? We're all good with what we got. We're out of there. You can have the scraps of what's left over.
Yeah, it definitely does seem that there's a difference in ideology between these teams, and I want to get a rotation on this map. And again, I wouldn't blame Team Veer for having the notions that they have of, let's just keep shelling out for this time as long as we're keeping these guys stuck in their spawns, which are away from the next objective, which is one of the most effective ways, in my opinion, to play Bocage. But that wasn't really the way that they were approaching it. They were kind of hitting out hills at last seconds for just the sake of getting the time, which is not really thinking too far ahead, which is something that Hyped Esports was doing a lot. When they were doing the hitting out at the last bit, it was to do exactly what I said, and hold their opponents in the spawns. On P4, they did exactly that. Team Veer unable to get anywhere close, except for on the outer edge of the map, and then they picked up on that as well. They knew they could only come from one spot, and it's the same way they came from last time. So, much better control from Hyped Esports, even on a map where you don't, in theory, need to get a lot of good rotations. They just played a lot better.
Yeah, I think too many 4-man pushes from Team Veer is really what just gave up those spawns and sort of cost those rotations that they possibly could have had, or kind of glued themselves as they were trying to make those advances. But, next up, we got a Berlin for the S&D, so that should be interesting. Certainly, I think, opportunity to keep up some fast-pacedness, but definitely a little bit more of a slower map in some instances here.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite maps for Search and Destroy, not just because it's got like a lot of long-range stuff and there's a lot of different ways you can play the map, I would say. It's also one of the maps where you can use sniper rifles. And fun fact, yesterday, very recently, snipers were un-GA'd again after having been GA'd the day before, so we will be seeing snipers back again. For those of you who are not up to date on the GAs, honestly, I wasn't last night, and I was like, why is this guy pulling out a sniper rifle? It's because literally the day after they GA'd it, un-GA'd again. So, yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of potential for sniper play now, TG.
Yeah, I mean, it also comes down to if a team is comfortable and they have a sniper, because even with snipers in the rotation beforehand, snipers will not necessarily used every single map on every single rotation, but they can be used to great effect if you have a solid sniper on your team.
I mean, yeah, obviously you gotta be good with it, but there's a lot of people in the scene that genuinely are good with it. I've seen people wreck people with the quickscopes. I've seen people, do a good job at pre-aiming opposite head glitches, especially on the dock, where you have that, and from the attacker's side perspective, you've got the person that always tries to get the head glitch over on either the boxes or behind the train inside of the warehouse. And so the sniper can pre-aim either one of those positions, usually starting with the train station, because you got to go through there in order to get to the other head glitch. I've seen a lot of great effect coming out from that. So yeah, it also is not just, because you can kill your opponent in one shot. It's the threat that you can kill your opponent in one shot can deny them from pushing into a lot of good positions and allow you to sort of bully them around with the threat of killing them instantly.
Yeah, once that first shot comes out from the sniper, everything changes on the map. The opponent just needs to go, hold up, wait a minute, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it definitely gives you a little bit of a room for pause when you know that your death is literally just a shot away. So, yeah, it's especially if you know that your opponent is consistently hitting their shots. That's the double-edged sword of sniper rifles, is if you're hitting your shots, your opponents know you're hitting their shots, and they start to play a little bit differently and allows you to dictate the pace of the game. But just as likely, if you're not hitting shots, then it puts you at a big fat disadvantage, and your opponents are going to be like, oh, this guy's not hitting his shots. We can get away with running up on him with our subs and killing him. And if you're not in your game with a sniper rifle, it does tend to put you in a very, very terrible situation. So we're going to be seeing if that is going to be played tonight on Berlin.
Yeah, indeed. And I do want to see some sniper action go down, and yeah, I mean mainly should be around the dock side. If it's not, I would be very surprised and also questioning why that person would have a sniper in hand, honestly. But we'll see how things play out. It's going to be Team Veer going to be first on the attacking side. They're going to be looking to push on to the ace site right now. The question is, what kind of controls can they get? Afro is in here. He finds one. He finds two. And, well, just like that, Team Veer left in a 2v3.
That is so much damage done by just one player. NK, he's in a position to see the cross and he only saw one cross. I'm sure he was saying everything's good to go. But apparently it's not. Afro absolutely killing people, making them pay for not respecting his position. Conspiracy now down for the count, and we'll see ourselves in a 2v1. NK caught on the rotation now as well, as soon as I say it. And Hyped eSports, making their opponents pay for not giving them the respect in the gunfights.
And it's going to be round one. Going to Hyped as they secure the first defensive side victory so far. And we'll see how things play on out as now roles are switched. Veer now going to be on the defensive end. We'll have to see if they can have some great effect. Certainly that first kill that we saw from, or the first two kills that we saw from Afro were big. And I want to see if Team Veer can sort of pull that off, have one sit in a corner and then just be gifted some kills.
Yeah, the biggest thing for Veer is that they didn't take the information and push in together. It was just a disjointed push. He gave them 2 individual 1v1s, or 3 individual 1v1s, 2 of which he won. Now, going out to the side, Bajimbo looking to see if he can spot someone. He does see Sins, but little does he know that there are 2 people very close to him as well. Gobla trying to get some shots on, but they're already on the inside, so Plant definitely going to be going down for Hyped.
And that plant's going to be going down, but a lot of the map control around it, at least, is going to Veer. So you have a few players kind of looking outwards, but now Team Veer are going to be starting to push on up a little bit. Afro going to be threatened. He's going to go down, and, well, now it's Bajimbo left alone in a 1v3 situation. Well, 1v4 turns it down to a 1v3, but he finds another. Now it's a 1v2. Things become a lot more capable, but unfortunately not going to be able to get it done.
Really unfortunate for Jimbo because he was really starting to run down the clock and he was also starting to get really close to streaks. If he had just been able to find one more kill, he would have been not only likely to win the round, but definitely had streaks and made the next round likely to win as well. So big kill here from Gobla with the implications on the later rounds.
Yeah, so with that, a nice win from the side of Team Veer. Things tied up so far early in this game. Both sides on the defensive end going to be getting a win. So we'll have to see if this back and forth, if this is just the start, or if we got a lot more crazy things in store. Bajimbo there now at 4-1 to start off this S&D, though. Afro with the 2-2 as well. So some stats starting to accumulate here so far.
Yeah, really liking this over his shoulder view, by the way, Hero. Love it. But yeah, it appears that Team Veer going in, throwing caution to the wind once again, and they run right past Swizz. For some reason, he's not shooting at them. But Afro is going to be getting a solid kill, and a second one as well. Only one left is Gobla on the site, and NK on the rotation. He's killed as well, so it's only Gobla left in the middle.
Afro really just the king of getting these defending 2 pieces. But we'll see. Gobla 1v2.
Appears that he's trying to go for the plant over here on A, which is crazy. Who would have thought that he would come all the way back here? He had an easy rotation, but trying to expect the unexpected here. Instead, he's trying to go for yet another rotation, but Hyped eSports, they've got faith in each other. They're going to go for this defuse, and Jimbo is going to be getting it while Gobla is still taking his crazy long route.
Yeah, I mean, once he kind of like popped through that fire window, I was like, this is going to be taking way too long for a wrap. Oh boy, but yeah, just like that, get the plan off, able to get away, but unfortunately it's not any good if you let the team defuse it.
Yeah, I mean, if he had been able to be successful with that, TG, we would have been like, wow, that is so smart, amazing from Gobla, but when it doesn't, we're thinking, oh, what was he thinking there? But what he does get out of that round is 3 kills. So he's getting pretty close to streaks like we were just saying about Bajimbo earlier. Speaking of Jimbo, pulling out the sniper rifle, seeing what efficacy he can have with it, with the intel or with the kills.
I think he saw one. Oh, but no shot. Able to come on out. Just able to get away.
This guy coming around the back. It's NK. He's about to be right literally behind him. NK, he's literally right behind Jimbo, and he's about to shoot him, and that is 3 down in a row, including Sniper and Bomb. is all on to Afro all by his lonesome inside of the mid buildings.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Gonna get tagged a little bit. There you go. Sins, though, able to get that final pick there. And, well, with that, things continue going back and forth, 2-2 now, as we head into the round 5.
Yeah, very convincing round for Team Veer. I don't think they really even took a single casualty in that one. They just completely outclassed their opponents, predicted what they wanted to do to a T, and now, not only do they get a win, but they get 2 players that are very close to streaks. And when you're doing as good as these players are, it wouldn't surprise me if they were able to get 2 more kills in this round on their own.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see if Afro's going to find another 2 in the defending side. But for right now, it does not look like that's going to be the case at the moment, as Team Veer going to be opting to go to the B site. The bomb going to be getting planted. Number 8, though, working his way forward a little bit. But number 1, I think getting that intel, yes, able to get that kill. And now they're going to have control over this B bomb site. They have it planted. Going to be on hype now for really pushing out these back spawns on this site, unfortunately, in some cases.
Yeah, Afro has been in a good position normally to kill people, but unfortunately, this time, no one coming anywhere near him. He's going to have to go right into their path, and when he's the one that's pushing, clearly doesn't work out too well for him. Swizz, though, managing to Swiss cheese his way through the enemy defenses, and is going to be getting into the bomb site. Unfortunately for him, that door is wall bangable, so he will be going down very shortly as well.
Yeah, closing it does not stop bullets in this game, unfortunately. I wish it did, but... it unfortunately does not work that way, and well, I think we've learned a lesson here. You know what? You don't challenge Afro. You can get an offensive win here.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of leaving the A bomb site by the wayside now, and I completely agree with that from the side of Team Veer. They have had basically 0 success on it, and when they go to the B bomb site, they got 1 guy on streaks, and they've got another guy 1 kill away from it. So Team Veer looking to really turn this game in their favor now.
Yeah, that last win really puts them in a good spot, and more people running around, more information at least, though no snipe coming out directly. One guy coming around, Sins, doesn't know. Well, now he does, as he finds that pick in the backside, and well, now it's just going to be hyped on this B site, able to find one. Now it's going to be a 1v2. Can they get this bomb down, or is number 1 going to be able to catch him?
Oh, he's trying to bait him out. Is he trying to bait out some shots? Sins. It's really all on him. As now, Hyped Esports, they're going to be coming on the other side, calling in the strafing run, and it will get accepts off the site. He puts himself into a 1v1 situation, Sins rotating to the center of the map with his MP40, trying to play his gun in his best location, but he has to push Afro, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Where's the timing? What's happening? There you go. Sins finding that kill, and plenty of time for the defuse as well. But, yeah, get through the window. There you go. This game is really weird with the windows.
Yeah, you know what? He had more danger of not getting that defuse from the window than he did from Afro.
Yeah, he still can't get out of it.
Let's be real. But yeah, another thing I want to point out, he is now on 8 kills in a row, TG. If he hadn't used all of his streaks, he would still have a bombing run, but unfortunately for him, that one is now also G8. But a good news for him is that I believe his teammate, Gobla, or someone else, I don't quite remember who also got, no, mathematically they could not have gotten streaks. I think they were just 1 off before they died. So, Team Veer, using all their streaks, but to great effect, they are now having the best lead anyone has had in a search and destroy so far in the series.
Yeah, and really, I kind of want to say it's a little bit on the backside of Sins here at 10-3. The rest of his team doing all right, but nothing super magical from them so far. But now, once again, another B plant, and well, after those first 2 rounds, I think it's been nothing but B plants, and so far, Team Veer has been having a lot of success going this route as well.
Yeah, and a lot of ground given up by Hyped Esports. They basically gave up all the power positions to push back in here. It's going to take them a long time to really do anything because they are basically at the mercy of the flanking player here. You got Afro trying to do something, which has come around the back, and he might be able to knock these guys out of position as his teammates are timing it well to push up with him. So they do get momentary control over the site, but they haven't gotten control over the mid or Gobla. He's going to take down all of them. Good try, but it catastrophically fails for Hyped Esports at the end.
Gobla with like more than I don't even know, like a 7-something or whatever the math works out to. Like spinning around like 2 times. Getting the final pick there, and well, Team Veer 5-2. a great S&D performance from them.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got a lot of people on ends of the spectrum for both these teams. We've got Sins, who's got almost a 3 KD, and then we've got on the other end Swizz, who's almost going and trying out for the James Bond role of 007. Going over to B now as they see everybody cross. That's good intel gathering and adjusting based on it from Hyped eSports. But the unfortunate thing for them is that NK's in a spot where he's going to be seeing this, trying to throw some nades, and he calls out for his teammates.
Yeah, not going to be quite hitting anything there, but you see Team Veer pushing a little bit through that mid through ruins, number 1. I think trying to find and hunt down number 8. It's going to be number 8, except able to get that kill. But meanwhile, more by this B bomb site, Nick. Or sorry, not Nick, NK. I don't know why I said Nick, but just going to be chilling by the dock side. Eyeline's going to be met, and the challenge starts to come on through, but, you know, able to sort of get away.
Swizz. Oh no, Swizz, you needed him here, but he's gonna be just trying out for the James Bond role, and he gets it 100%. Hyped eSports, they will be getting the role of James Bond, but they will not be getting the win. Team Veer will be winning this one 6-2.
Yeah, really, we saw 2 A rounds kind of fall or go sideways for Team Veer, but then after that, I mean, apparently B. That's where they're at. You gotta have that point of lockdown. And yeah, that kind of cost them, I think, for the side of Hyped a little bit, where they just kind of kept letting them get to the zone and letting it get planted, like, and so much time to work the force for them to work the rotation. It's not like they were surrounding the B bomb site and letting them get into it. They were like all the way kind of like past that or into their more side of the midway point too. Like they were not really watching over that site at all.
Yeah, TG, that's actually a really good thing that you bring up. Sort of after they had their previous successes on the A bomb site, and their opponents started getting more and more rounds in their favor, we saw Hyped eSports just giving up so much to their opponents, especially on the round that we saw Team Veer go in and get control over the B bomb site and the mid with 0 contestation. They were literally able to get control over all of the best areas of the map, and Hyped eSports, they left themselves with 0 just because of sheer passiveness. I feel like they started to get in their heads that they couldn't beat Team Veer, and yeah, that's you don't even need a sniper to bully your opponents around. You just need some good gun skill with any gun, and that's something that an effect that we definitely saw on Hyped eSports.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we saw the snipe come out from B Jimbo there, but not quite going to be the case, unfortunately. Once a player gets up close and you're not really aware, it's kind of obviously how that's going to go. The SMG, you shoot from the backside or the AR or whatever. He got caught so many times out. Like, there just didn't seem to be a whole lot of callouts and information that was really where the crucial players were. Like, they didn't seem to have a whole lot of that information and coordination down, unfortunately, in my eyes, for the side of Hyped.
Yeah, that's a great thing you point out as well. Whenever Bajimbo, he was trying to use a sniper rifle out on the exact same place every single time, his opponents were able to run through the train station, around the back of him, and kill him without him realizing it. So that's... If you're gonna try and put yourself in an exposed position like that and cover the middle of the map with a sniper rifle, you gotta have a little bit of an insurance policy that you're not just gonna get flanked like that every single time, especially when it's happening to you multiple times. I was just giving Hyped eSports the praise for adapting on their mistakes, but I can't really give it to them in this one because they fell by the same sword multiple times. Now we are going to be going into Gavutu, which is a map that is much more heavily based on rotations than Bocage. And TG, I have to say, I like this map for Hyped eSports just because they were playing a lot smarter, I would argue, than Team Veer in a lot of the instances, even on a map like Bocage.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would have to give them a little bit of an advantage. But after seeing the Berlin, I think it comes down to if Veer can recognize their mistakes, which, again, like we were saying in Bocage, for them, it's really just a lot of these kind of 4-man pushes on the last few seconds of hills that really cost them some spawns. If they can recognize say, hold on, let's step back for a second on this hill. Do we need these extra 10 seconds and fully commit? Or do we decide to sort of pull back a little bit and sort of stay where we are if we have rotations? I'm interested to see if they really recognize that at this moment.
Yeah, that is definitely a key question to be asking is, do they learn from their mistakes on Bocage, and how much does the previous map, which is a search and destroy, lead into the next map from, I would say, what's it called? What's that word? Momentum perspective. There you go, TG. How much momentum can they carry from the previous map into this one? As obviously Hyped eSports, the hype train is going to be taking a little bit of a stop when it comes to Berlin. because they had such massive issues on it, I would say, but I don't know how much it's going to be really hurting them. Is it going to be dragging them and their opponents down to equal footing, or is it going to be dragging Hyped Esports much lower than Team Veer? It's really hard to say without hearing their comms.
Yeah, just a little bit of a slight pit stop for them now. It's about, can they get back up to full speed heading into this map as we are now loading on in.
Like the train pun. But yeah, I do believe that the... Yeah, sorry. We are all good and ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Never mind. Hyped Esports, they are going to be on the less favored side of the map, but that could all change with Vajimbo getting control of her ship uncontested already.
Yeah, Team Veer just decided to full blast ahead into this P1, getting a lot of control. Gobla, a nice little nade, some kills as well, able to get 3, and now it's chilling at 3-0 for right now, and the idea of streaks pop in your head already off within the first 3 seconds of this map.
Yeah, for Hyped Esports, it's great that they've gotten control over the mid ship, but it's only going to be a good thing if they can keep their opponents from getting too much time off of P1. Otherwise, you're sort of giving away your early advantage of the rotation. You see Gobble, he's going right up to him, and he will be taking Vajimbo down and literally evaporating every single advantage they had going in. Like I said, they had to chow out that initial objective a lot more and get more kills than they did in order to keep their advantage going.
And now all the pressure is over here on the P2, and Team Veer were kind of briefly on it, but really going to get taken care of. We've got Sins, though, at that mid-tank. Possibility to wreak some havoc there, but the trade comes on out, and we'll have to see now as Team Veer with some more control. The manpower is certainly there as both teams now start to collide once again.
Yeah, Hyped Esports, they are going to be regaining control of the ship. It takes them 25 seconds to do it, and honestly, that's 25 seconds they probably should have been able to have in their favor if they had been able to do a little bit better on their rotation and P1 perspective. This is all big W's for Team Veer. This time that they contest, it's all W's, because not only is it denying their opponents time that they should have gotten, but also when you look at where they are in rotation to the in regards to the rotation to next, they are in a more prime position. They do have Accepts trying to stop them from doing this, but how much effect is he really going to have when Gobla is going to be beaming him from up close, and now there's nothing really to stop Team Veer from getting some good time off of this landing craft hill.
Yeah, Gobla's been really good at getting up close and personal, winning a lot of these gunfights, really. I mean, we saw it at the start. We just saw it right there, just kind of able to make his way up close there, and well, now it's going to be Hype trying to push a little bit on the backside. They're able to do so. Some kills going in their way, but they got to break onto this hill. Team Veer, I mean, though they don't have those backside spawns, still soaking up quite a bit of time.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of ways you can hold this from the opposite perspectives. And now, since Team Veer was able to get the counter setup done more quickly than Hyped Esports was able to get onto the objective, they are now in a good position to hold this down as they're suppressing Vajimbo from taking them down on the approach. Sins will be going down here now as well, and so that's a lot of time wasted from both teams' perspectives. Team Veer, again though, are going to be on this rotation, although they're in a very weakened state on the rotation. Hyped Esports, they're making good holdups, waiting for Vajimbo to be able to press in there with him from the better side, but unfortunately he's now going to have to go in solo as his teammate falls.
Yeah, trying to find this kill by the beach side. Can't quite do it. The stun not going to be completing it this time around. I believe they nerfed stuns, if I may be mistaken a little bit about that, from like 20 damage or whatever it used to do to around 6 or something, I believe now. Though I could be completely wrong. Who knows? This game's sometimes a little bit questionable. But, you know, certainly with some adjustments coming on in, it's interesting to see, I think, if we'll see as many stun kills as we used to. And Gobla making his way up as well, trying to find one. Can't quite find that. Vajimbo finding him instead. And STG on the field as well, which is something I have not seen a whole lot recently.
Yeah, and it is because it's been un-G8'd as well, I do believe, since the CDL rule set does now disallow for the use of the vital perks, which is the reason why it was banned in the first place. And so, yeah, we will be starting to see the STGs again a whole lot more, I would anticipate. Hyped Esports, I do have to give them props. This is a hill that Team Veer really did have a chance of setting up good for, but they were able to prevent them from getting at least half of the hill time. Unfortunately for them, they're not quite able to follow it up with some good pushes to the next objective, and now Team Veer, they've got the hill, and they've got good map control. Every single approach you're going to have to take to it, you're going to have to take on one of the Team Veer players on a solid head glitch.
Yeah, Swizz got a nice little kill there. NK going to be going down. Wait, is he? No, never mind. Sorry, I'm completely misreading players. NK is on a 7 instead. As he is going to find one with the glide. Another streak still in hand. Team Veer with the lead still. Not by a whole lot, but certainly a decent amount, especially if they can continue to get spawns, which is something they've been doing a lot better this map than they have in the first map.
Oh, absolutely. They've gotten spawns, I think, just about every single time. Yeah, every single time they've had spawns that, although Hype eSports did have a good rotation of P2 off of the rip, Team Veer was able to take them down because they were able to keep the spawns. And now, going into next hill, we definitely see what Hype eSports needs to fix. It's definitely things that they can fix as well, but will they be able to fix things just as well as they did in the previous map? Time will tell.
Yes, map not quite down yet. Conspiracy trying to figure out when and if he wants to put down his streak. Well, there you go. Eventually, someone's going to be saying, you got to make a decision, bud. As he will eventually go down. And Jimbo there, a nice little kill. Switching to the automaton for now. I don't know if that's a permanent switch or if that's just for this hill. You know, trying to pick up some mid presence here. The automaton still in hand. Able to find another on a 3 now. There's going to be another one by this brick bridge, or sorry, rock bridge, or whatever you want to call it. The question is, does it get caught from the backside? I don't know.
Answer is yes, although that's exactly the same thing that happened to him the last time around, but they are able to get a lot of contention on a P1, forcing Team Veer to not be able to fully rotate and focus on the ship. So they are going to be able to get back in here. You see Accepts in a good position to do some damage, but Sins instantly picks it up. Team Veer still with a serious lead, but Hype eSports, they are making good changes, I will say.
Yes, they are. NK, top of the boat. There's going to be at least one, maybe two. Can't quite find the other one. The other one's not going to be quite lining out and up there, but Veer, a nice series of kills goes their way. They're able to get some time and, for them, set up and really just hold off Hype eSports, as they are going to have to make a push through a somewhat more or less set up Team Veer.
Yeah, Hype eSports making good changes, but Team Veer also making incredibly good changes. Look at this cutoff from Sins. They're not going to be able to get on the ship because look at how much ground they've given up. They've given up a complete and utter cutoff of their spawns. And Hype eSports, the good thing about having these spawns, they're not even going to really be able to use either because they have such little map control to prevent their opponents from pushing up in there and cutting them off even closer to their spawns. They do have few people slipping through the cracks, but Team Veer have one of their own. You've got Conspiracy coming around the back, going to be able to flip these spawns or at least make things difficult for Hype eSports to take advantage of them.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to comment there with Conspiracy. I was like, this is an amazing play, just able to sort of rat his way on through, able to slip by the cracks and get some spawns as well. With that, it doesn't allow Hype to get set up at all, really. I mean, you have number 2 on the hill for right now, but no one else is really around him to help support. Though, unfortunately, Team Veer, there's no one really around that point by the time it really pops on up. But a glide bomb that has no effect on Swizz, I believe now as well. Another slight change, though. You may or may not agree with it at the moment. I don't know if it's a glitch or not. But I believe Fortified preventing from the glide bomb. No, you can't die from it if you have Fortified.
That is really good intel, TG. And it definitely is appearing to save him in that situation. Usually, glide bombs are the main thing that kill people out of the landing craft aside from grenades. So, Hyped eSports, they are going to be lucking out, I believe, in part because of the Fortified update, as you said, but also because he was a little bit off with his hitting of his opponent. And now Hyped eSports able to find the people in the middle of the map. Veer, in the meantime, not getting a whole lot of time, so very minimal amount of time they can get. They have to win this fight, which they do, courtesy of Sins.
Yeah, some massive kills coming on out. Hype going to have to try again on this push, and Veer set up. This is a solid hill as well that you can get a decent amount of control. Sometimes it get a little bit confusing, but overall, if you're a solid team that gets these setups and pretty much watches all the angles, you can just rack up some serious time and really give a team a hard time to push on up. But Swizz able to come on in, getting some time. Knows that there's a player off to the backside a little bit, but the pressure is there. And I mean, it just Hype just sort of trickling on in. Team Veer, though, they have the manpower just to slice them on down. And well, a few more seconds left. They can't get a win, but they're so very close.
Yeah, Hyped eSports, they are going to be given the spawns. It helps them to stop the game from ending right now, but how is it going to end in 8 more seconds? Maybe. As you see, Goblin now going to be hopping on the time, and the cutoffs have been gained again from Team Veer. Although Bajimbo slipping through the cracks, he's not going to be able to get there in time, though. Team Veer's positioning is much too oppressive. for the like of hyped esports to get in with how much they've lost.
Yeah, they took that map 1 and was like, hold on, wait a minute, we can make some changes. You know what? We are in it to win it in the map 3.
Yeah, so it's going to be now 2 in the favor of Team Veer. Hyped esports winning the first map, although it was a pretty close affair as well, I would say. Team Veer, in the recent maps, it appears that the hype train is now being owned by them. That apparently they've got it foreclosed and they have been able to buy it for auction away from hyped esports.
Little bit of a takeover, you know. The bandits coming on board. You know, taking control a little bit here is. I mean, they had a great map 2, and the map 3 for them, I saw a lot of changes from them. They didn't. I like that they didn't really fully commit to some pushes that they didn't need to. You know, yeah. I mean, you had that backside play from Conspiracy, just able to sort of work his way on back to the spawns and sort of shake things on up, get some players spawning on them. But they got rotations. That was crucial. They decided to go, let's get rotation, especially on this map with it being so long. I mean, you get rotation. That's an easy, like, 20 seconds right there, just right off the bat, honestly, as long as you have a decent setup. Because by the time they spawn back in, they're spawning across the map.
Yeah, Team Veer definitely playing the spawn game a lot better, but we are going into another game where it's going to be contributing a key factor again. Gavudu and Berlin, I would say, are slightly towards the same side of a coin. They're both very, very similar maps. You need solid rotations, and we saw Team Veer getting them time and time and time again. So, hyped esports, I was saying how their rotations in Bocage could definitely be helping them in Gavudu, but they just didn't bring it as good as Team Veer. It looks like Team Veer was just trying to play Bocage the way it's meant to be played, but it just didn't quite work out for them. But now going into these other maps, which are rotation heavy, they're playing these maps the way that they're meant to be played as well, and just doing it better than hyped.
Yeah, they've also had, I think, a lot of success with their Slaying Power Gobbler, but I think playing absolutely phenomenal in a lot of instances, getting into some nice spots and holding his own. You know, though you gotta die sometimes. Overall, like he's been getting the kills that you need to get.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely haven't seen a lot of the Team Veer players going off more and more. We saw NK getting a significant amount of kills, especially, I think it was at the end of the first P1 rotation. He was chilling up in the main battle gun area of the ship, and he was just slaughtering people as if he had, like, the cannon. He was just using the cannon on top of the ship. He's just getting a significant amount of kills. He got streaks off of that as well. Gobbler also getting a significant amount of streaks and just holding their opponents at bay. It wasn't just because they individually were playing well, although they were. Their opponents were also in great positions to get cutoffs as well. Like, literally, for significant parts of the game, Hyped was not able to push up from their spawns because of the cutoff positions they were allowed to give. For a lot of the game, Team Veer had control over the tank eddy from either side of which they were pushing. So, yeah, hyped esports. You got to be mindful of your map control.
Yeah, just a lot of teamwork on their side and being in good position to get those trades that you need to. And now, heading into a Berlin hardpoint, it's going to be, I think, similar in terms of what you need to get done as the last map. So I think for Hype, it really just comes down to trying to get those adjustments in a little bit. I mean, you have some very powerful hills where if you're not set up like that back train yard on Berlin, it can be a very, very tough day.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've seen a lot of people in teams try to hold that and have solid rotations. Like, they beat their opponents by miles to the objective, but they don't set up properly. And either from the side of the train yard, they don't have somebody chilling in the tower and making sure that they're not coming clean out from their spawns on the far left side of the map from their perspective, or they don't have someone doing their due diligence on the rotation. It's in theory an easy objective to hold because your opponents have to run through a lot of open space, but there are a lot of different areas to watch from, and you basically need all of your players to be looking at different ways at the same time. Generally, it's one that you have to have a lot of good teamworks, call-outs in order to make sure that you hold it properly.
Yeah, well, we'll see how things play on out. It's going to be hyped at this point now. Holding on, you know, they're down 1-2. I want to see that map 5 come on in. It's possible. It certainly is. I mean, we've made it this far to the map 4, though. I would say the maps generally not as close as I think you really want them to be, though, despite it being 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, the trend after the first map has definitely been more towards Team Veer, but Hyped esports, we have seen that they can learn from their mistakes on the end of that Bocage. They just weren't really able to do it on that Gavudu. I feel like they had a lot of again, a lot of glaring errors, but they probably got a little bit caught up in the craziness of everything. Because Gavudu, it is a very stressful map. There are a lot of things that can go wrong, so there's a lot of stuff you got to worry about. So maybe just a little bit of a collapse in the comms of Hyped Esports. We have had a little bit of an extended break now, so there is an opportunity now, TG, for them to sort of hit the reset button and be like, all right, guys, objectively, what did we do wrong? And it's not something that you can really miss, I would say. You're getting shot from all the main power positions, and they should be thinking right now, all right, we just got to work on our map control, and especially going into another map, which is exactly the same as the map we just lost on in terms of how you play it. It's something that we got to address right now.
Yeah, this is where your captain goes in and says, all right, boys, listen up. This is what we need to get done. You know what? We're down 2-1. The last two maps, not necessarily the greatest, but you know what? We can come back. You know, let's keep the vibes high. Let's get back into this. It's not over yet. We still got this next map, and well, let's give it our all.
Absolutely going to be giving it their all. Even though it's just a preseason game, it doesn't have an effect on the regular season. You're playing for pride now, TG. It's why you take this one in the first place. You want to show off. You want everyone to be thinking, oh, Hyped Esports, oh, Team Veer, that's such a good team. We got to watch out for them in the regular season. And who are they going to be saying that about? It's going to be decided right now.
Yeah, except on the hill. Swizz finding 2, and well, there you go. A nice wave of kills to the side of Hyped as they are nicely entrenched onto this P1 so far. Goblet trying to make his way over. Not going to quite be able to find Swizz there with some wall bangs, unfortunately. But he's still going to be there as he's able to make his way onto the point. Some contest coming on in. I mean, he's just trying to find Swizz, but Swizz just able to duck and cover away and will pay back some shots.
Yeah, it might have been a difficult start for Team Veer, but it appears like they're well and truly bouncing back. They're going to be contesting the hill time, making it so that their opponents don't get a whole lot of time off this objective. And look at the mini-map. They've got the rotation ready. They've got Sins ready for the dock rotation. They've got people in the middle of the map, but Bajembo and the guys, they are going to be breaking from the train station and instantly able to get onto the objective. So, finding Team Veer's weak spot and hitting them out where they're least prepared for it.
Yeah, Team Veer's going to be spawning all out a little bit. Able to start to make their way over, though, as they start to take down Hyped Esports. And Gobla on a 2 so far. 3-3 so far as well, I guess. Saying that word quite a bit. But you know what? That's kind of how it goes sometimes with me.
Yeah,
but
man.
Regardless, they're just going to be chilling on this hill, getting some time. Hyped Esports, I really don't want to see them push too far up. Really just push onto the point, but I don't want to see them rotating around that backside and losing those spawns to the next hill.
I'm going to say it again, TG. Look at the positions that Team Veer are in right now. They've got a complete and utter cutoff on any route that Hyped Esports tries to approach from, and that's why they were getting absolutely slaughtered on that last push, is because they all pushed in from the middle of the map without having any control over the sides. Team Veer, they know where they're going to be coming from. These guys are not stupid. They know that their opponents are spawning directly in front of them, and they're going to be coming from that way. So they're like, all right, we got control of the sides. Let's look in from the sides. Get a solid cutoff. Exactly what happens. Team Veer, it's their MO. It's what they've been doing to Hyped Esports all night.
Yeah, Conspiracy looking to come on into the front, but a wave of kills. Hyped Esports not letting Veer get anywhere near this point. They shut them down, and should be, you know, a solid 10-15 seconds or so as Team Veer. I mean, they're just tracking their way all the way back over, but Hyped ready for this next wave. It's Afro finding 2 and his teammate picking up the kill, though honestly, I would have loved to see Afro get the turn on that player as well, but now on a 3, seeing another one go with fire, going to be challenging it out, and well, there you go. One more away from streaks. Can you get it done?
Yeah. It does appear that they are now trying to make a solid push for rotation from multiple different sides. If they can manage to get this coordinated well, that's a huge kill, by the way, from Accepts. It could be getting them in a position where they're spawning out. Yes, indeed it is. You see Sins and Conspiracy now spawning out. Hyped Esports now have a huge window, especially now that they kill NK, where they can set up and hold Team Veer in a spawn trap.
Yeah, Bijimbo here, just chilling. Conspiracy on the backside. Is someone going to catch him? Or is Team Veer just going to be left to sort of have him in the backside, ready to strike as the rest of the team start to push on up? It's really just a matter of when Conspiracy decides to make a massive play, decides to make a move. Well, it's going to be Bajimbo going to be making an even better move, finding 2. And just like that, Team Veer, their presence on the back end, the real threat, going to be completely eliminated as now they have to pretty much start from square one again.
You know what else is being eliminated, TG? A lot of the hill time. No one is really being able to get a whole lot of it, but Bajimbo making up with it in terms of how many kills he's able to get. He gets 10 before he goes down. So that is all streaks in the favor of Bajimbo. Going on to this next hill, we're going into a couple of hills where we're going to be seeing streak usage definitely coming into play. This is not a hill where you normally see a lot of hill time going either side, but Team Veer, they are going to be in a spot where they can get a little bit off of it shortly, especially when they are holding Hype eSports so far back.
Yeah, this is a massive map for streaks. I mean, Bocage, I mean, there was like 2 streaks in it that we had no idea were even used at any point in that map, but that map's a little bit tricky, but this one, streaks are very, very useful with how open a lot of these hills are, especially for getting players off sort of those backside rotations. You know, if you're talking about like the back dock side for the, what is the P3, a lot of strategic uses that can be had on this map, and really turn the tide of this map.
Yeah, it really can. Team Veer getting a pretty decent amount of time off of this objective, uncharacteristic, and they've also got a good rotation for it. With these 10 seconds, Hyped eSports, if I were accepts, I would be thinking, maybe we should try and get a little bit of a push past this. Instead, he's going to be only taking like 2 seconds away from his opponents, but now Team Veer in a position where they can definitely get a lot more than that. They're seeing Swizz coming a little bit late on the rotation contest, and now they will be instantly finding it out. This is a good sign for Team Veer. They instantly knew what their opponents were trying to do, and they are able to take them all down. Look at that.
And they pretty much almost wiping away all of Hype there. Sins finding another on a 3 right now. Their opportunity maybe for a 4th, no, not quite, is going to be getting taken care of. Is not going to be able to achieve that, unfortunately. But regardless, Team Veer still holding strong onto this point, as Hype going to be taking another crack at it, it would seem.
Yeah, Team Veer, they spawned out and they knew it, so they're shifting their attention instantaneously without really even a kill going into the hands of their opponents. So that flip really does not help Hyped eSports at all, especially in the long run. You've basically given the rotation to your opponents with 7 seconds left to pick it up. Team Veer, they know that their opponents are spawning in the opposite side of the map, so the most common path is the one that Accepts is going to be taking. They don't quite know that he's there just yet, so he might be able to get through unscathed.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I mean, just with the positioning, like, he was just able to cut by that dockside. And the teammate who was back there, I think, you know, you had the teammate in front of him that we were kind of watching, and I think that teammate was like, hey, you're all clear, pretty much. And, well, that was not the case. And, yeah, Accept able to push on in, start to cause some commotion. But overall, Hype, the rest of the team is not quite there.
Yeah, big thing for Team Veer is that, especially on that last hill, with the communication, they were able to feed NK streaks. So he uses his glide bomb to get even more time in their favor, and they might be able to switch up the tempo of this game. You see, their usual MO is that they try to keep their opponents stuck in their spawns for as much as possible. They take those late pushes just for that manner. And so they're trying to get Hyped eSports back in that train, but apparently Hyped eSports is going to be making a solid rotation, trying to stop what seems like the inevitable. But they got to get this kill on Conspiracy as their teammates are still spawning out.
And now NK putting down the streak. A nice one at that. Going to be starting to close off those players on Hype on that right side, and it comes on out. Team Veer now having these sort of right side spawns, able to get some control over the hill as well, and with that, maybe some points. But we'll see how Hype break on in this sort of... The direction they're coming at is really a tricky place to come by in, because it's really just a pipeline.
It really is, especially when you take into account all the different positions. You've got Conspiracy and control over the middle of the map. When however you want to push this for Hyped eSports, you're going to be getting shot at from multiple different angles. So Team Veer, again, another amazing setup. And they have once again suckered in the entirety of Hyped eSports. They are only one of them looking for the rotation right now, and he's at risk of getting caught out. Jimbo, it's going to be a big fight between him and Sins.
Yeah, the 1v1 pretty much momentarily, but the rest of Hype starting to add some support as they start to make their way on up, but Sins finding one, going to be trying to find Accept, not going to quite happen, but you got the thread of the player behind, or to the side, I should say, I guess, and he's able to get that kill, so Team Veer rotation is not going to be here for them, and that's very dangerous, as now Hype, with this control, it's a tough hill to break if you don't have these rotation, if you don't have the positioning.
Absolutely correct. And with your manpower being diminished right now, Hyped eSports are going to be in a fight for their lives. They do have Accepts in the back of the objective, trying to stay as far away from his opponents as possible. And yeah, Hyped eSports, they're still in a good position where they can attempt to deny the hill time going into the hands of their opponents. but ideally this is time you would like to be getting for Hyped Esports as well. Gobla now making his way from the side of the train tracks, and Sin's able to take down another one. Hyped Esports are getting held within their spawns very, very hard. And so, Veer, this gives them the opportunity, while Hyped Esports is still trying to fight out for these last 5 seconds and for escape from their spawns, they are going to be able to get some good setups for the final hill and might be able to get some good time off of it like they did the last time again.
Yeah, it's going to be Conspiracy, just going to be chilling. Is going to go down, though. Hype with this sort of ruined rotation. They're there. They're all pressed up. Veer, they were just kind of set up to try and watch it. I think take Hyped off of that push sort of once they get on the point. But, I mean, to what success? The answer is apparently quite a bit, as they are able to challenge Hyped Esports. And their initial time they got on that point, not quite going to be able to keep it going.
Yeah, not quite. This hill's turning into the slugfest that it normally is. Team Veer is going to be getting a little bit more of it, though. You see, they do have sides control over both sides now. Except's able to take down the one person on the objective, though, so time will fall neutral. And now, heads-up play from Bajembo, going in a lot earlier than he did before, and he will be catching Team Veer. They're not going for it in time. Bajembo, he's going to shoot one clean in the back. That is NK. Goblin now having to double back for it, and that is allowing Hyped Esports a little bit of breathing room in the middle of the map.
Yeah, but not a lot of breathing room within the scoreline. I mean, both teams now over 200 points. This rotation could be just about our last, possibly, though. We'll probably see a P1, maybe a P2, but both teams closing on into the end, under 50 points for both to go, and it's going to be Hyped on this hill just briefly, but Team Veer able to respond, saying, hey, we are going to take that back. Thank you very much.
Sins on the cutoff again. He's about to kill all 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Down you all go. Hyped Esports so focused on the end goal that they don't see the pathway to it. Team Veer, they get control over the middle map again and cut them off again. That is the story of their lives right now. Just getting caught halfway between the objectives. And so this is going to be getting Team Veer very, very close to a total victory on the night.
Yeah, Hyped is going to have to hold P2 perfectly, and that hill as well could mean the victory to Hyped if they can hold it perfectly. So a lot rides on this, but NK on the side, able to find one, trying to find Accept, can't quite do so, but Hyped, I mean, they pretty much have to have a man on this hill 24/7. But the hold overall from the outskirts is going to be slightly there, at least the information that, hey, they're all on this dock side. Get ready for this push to come on in. 2 more seconds, all of your needs, and, well, there you go. The break happens. They get it done.
Team Veer, incredible. I would say about every couple of hills, they were able to get amazingly deadly blows to Hyped Esports' pushes. Especially on that final P1, that was the final killing blow. It made it so that they literally could not make a singular mistake, and in Call of Duty, how likely are you to go without making mistakes? No team is really able to do that. I've only seen people win from those slight margins maybe like once or twice, and one of them was this year, granted, but it was a different team. So yeah, TG, Team Veer put themselves really in the best positions possible pretty much all the time. They looked at the big picture, whereas Hyped Esports were a little bit too focused on the immediate gratification.
Yeah, there was that too, and I do think for a lot of that map, the Hype, there was a lot of potential in some of their plays, just some key gunfights, just not quite going their way, just, little 1v1s or like a guy on a flank getting caught when, before you can really have an impact. Just sort of those little moments, just unfortunately for them, just not quite able to work on out. But, I mean, regardless, it was still a very, very close match, and it could have gone either way, in my opinion. Again, like, Hyped holding on to that last hill, like, it was possible, it was doable. Just the pressure from Veer that they had on that sort of dock side, just Hyped was not in a position to respond to that quickly enough.
Yeah, I don't want to make it seem like Team Veer was just absolutely manhandling Hyped Esports for the entirety of the game, because there were moments for them where they did make some genuinely good plays. Like one of the P4 rotations, Jimbo got 10 kills in a row. And so moments like that make you realize that Hyped Esports definitely has potential. They just gotta be a little bit more focused on holistic map control and trying to think of how they can support their pushes instead of just making the pushes quickly. So yeah, Team Veer, they definitely were in that mindset, and they will be taking the first W of the preseason. And going into the next season, I'm thinking they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. Hype looking good as well. I mean, certainly some adjustments to be made, but it's preseason. This is where you start to see what the competition is like, and really you take it and go, okay, these are adjustments that we need to make heading into the season. Let's get it done, and then bam, we're off to the races. You know, we are a very competitive team. Just got to get something to put us over the line.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to seeing both these teams in the season. Ladies and gentlemen, it's coming up, and I want to say like 10 days is when the season is going to be starting just about. Yes, 10 days exactly. So come on back here in 10 days, but don't go anywhere just yet. We've still got another match to whet your appetite for the regular season. We have got a very special match. It is going to be Plague Nation versus KGK. It is a tribute match to Okie, and we'll be getting you more info on that very, very shortly. This is not one you're going to want to miss. It's going to be very special.